The universe had long forgotten the solace. A mighty Earth starship with over 1,000 souls on board, it vanished 200 years ago without a trace. No distress signal, no wreckage, not even a flicker of radiation to hint at its fate. It had left the Earth system during the height of the galactic expansion era, bound for the distant Vireo expanse, aiming to scout habitable worlds for a growing human population. Then, silence. Until now. When the signal came, it was weak, shaky, but undeniably Earthborn. Deep Space Listening Post 49, nestled on the edge of the Saturn belt, picked it up first. The technicians thought it was interference, just garbled echoes bouncing off magnetic storms. But when the code broke through, a sequence used exclusively by Earth fleet vessels in the early 2400s, panic and wonder spread through the control room like wildfire. Admiral Kira Mandel watched the live feed as the Solace drifted toward Mars orbit. It was like seeing a ghost come home. The ship was battered, its hull scorched and patched in strange non-Earth alloys. Even the shape had changed slightly, elongated at the stern, as if something had rebuilt it. The silence was even more unnerving. No response to hails, no signs of life, just drifting. Within 48 hours, the United Earth Command had deployed a secure boarding crew, all veterans, all elite. Among them was Lieutenant Cole Reyes, a linguist and historian, a weird mix for a recon team. But the brass insisted. This wasn't just about survivors anymore. This was about what the Solace had seen, and what might have seen it back. Cole's boots echoed softly as he stepped into the main corridor. His helmet lights cut through the darkness, revealing walls streaked with something that looked like blackened moss. The air, surprisingly, was breathable, but it tasted wrong. Stale, metallic, like blood and machinery. "I don't like this," Sergeant Takahashi muttered, sweeping his scanner. "No power readings, no body heat, and yet the systems are maintaining atmosphere." Cole ran his gloved fingers along a hatch. Standard Earth Fleet issue, but it had symbols etched into it. Not any language he knew. Organic, curling lines, like vines drawn in fire. He took photos and kept moving. They reached the bridge after 20 minutes of silent tension. What they found made the blood freeze in their veins. The crew was still there, frozen, pale, perfectly preserved in a bluish mist that hung in the air like smoke that refused to rise, their eyes wide open. Some had looks of terror, others peace, but none of them were decomposed. Cole crouched next to a captain's chair and saw something, an object clutched tightly in the captain's hand. It wasn't Earth tech. It pulsed faintly, humming like it was alive. "I've seen that before," Cole whispered. "In old Mars excavation files. It's identical to artifacts pulled from under the ice during the Valkyra dig, believed to be from a lost pre-human civilization." Before anyone could respond, the ship shifted. A low groan rippled through the floor, and suddenly lights flickered on across the bridge. Not just lights, symbols. That same curling alien language burst into glowing trails across every surface. The ship was waking up. The mist thickened. Cole's ears rang with a sound that wasn't sound. It was thought, pressing into his skull. Words formed in his mind like a memory he didn't own. "You are not ready." He fell to his knees, gasping. The others shouted, weapons raised, trying to locate a threat they couldn't see. One of them, a young private, began screaming, tearing off his helmet, clawing at his face like something was inside him. The ship trembled again. Then a voice, mechanical, warped, female. "Welcome home, Solace crew. Integration successful." Cole looked up. The captain's corpse had moved. Its head slowly turned toward him. Cole stumbled back, heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. The captain's body, motionless just moments ago, had unmistakably turned its head. Its eyes were open wide, still glassy and unblinking, but there was something behind them now. Not life, not even death. Something else, something watching. "Jesus Christ, did you see that?" he rasped into his comm, his voice cracking. "I saw it," Takahashi confirmed grimly, leveling his weapon at the unmoving corpse. "What the hell is going on here?" Private Mendez was still shrieking, curled into a ball near the navigation panel. His screams had turned to a garbled, repetitive chant in a language that didn't belong to Earth or any known galactic tongue. "Make him stop!" another soldier barked, trying to reach him. "Don't touch him!" Cole shouted, suddenly aware of the wrongness in the air, like the entire ship had become a living thing and was listening. "The ship's doing something to him. It's not just in our heads. It's rewriting him." Mendez suddenly went silent. Dead silent. He stood up slowly, eyes rolled white, face slack like a puppet being pulled up by invisible strings. And then, with a tone that didn't belong to any human voice, he spoke. "They were not prepared. But we are watching now." The lights flickered again, and the bridge seemed to shudder, not from impact, but like it was breathing. Pulses of light ran along the walls in rhythmic waves, sinking to the dead captain's hand that still clutched the alien device. A low hum echoed through the corridor behind them, like a warning or a countdown. Cole backed away, trying to suppress the nausea building in his stomach. He stared at the device in the captain's hand and realized this was the key. This object, small and humming with energy, wasn't just from a dead civilization. It was active. Whatever it was, it had fused with the ship, and perhaps the crew as well. "We need to get out," Takahashi snapped, dragging Mendez away and motioning for the others to retreat. "Command needs to see this, and we're not equipped to deal with ghosts and alien parasites." But the door to the bridge didn't open. It sealed, with a hiss. Then the screens lit up, playing images. At first they looked like distorted surveillance footage, flickers of humans walking the Solace's halls 200 years ago, crew members laughing, eating, then arguing, fighting, then collapsing violently. The footage turned more surreal, a strange light engulfing the mess hall, crew members waking up with eyes glowing blue, others screaming as their bodies twisted into shapes that defied bone and muscle. Cole covered his mouth. It wasn't a malfunction. It was a transformation, a takeover. The voice returned. This time it spoke clearly through the speakers, no longer echoing in their heads. "They reached beyond their understanding. They opened the gate. We responded." Takahashi raised his rifle toward the ceiling. "We're blowing the door. No way in hell I'm rotting in this tomb." "Wait!" Cole yelled, holding up a hand. "The device, if we can shut it off." Before he could finish, a panel behind them slid open silently, revealing a long, curved corridor, glowing softly, beckoning. The ship had made a choice. The bridge was not their prison, it was their test. Cole's comm crackled. A voice from command finally broke through, filled with static but clear enough. "Team Echo 7, what's your status?" "We're picking up strange energy readings. What the hell is going on up there?" Cole stared into the open corridor. His hand trembled, but his voice was steady when he pressed the comm. "Solace is alive. But the crew, they're not. We're going deeper. Something's waiting." "Negative, Echo 7. Do not engage. Extract immediately. Repeat, extract immediately." But the team didn't move to leave. Every single one of them felt it, compelled. Like an invisible leash was now around their minds. Whatever was ahead, it wasn't done with them yet. And neither was the Solace. The corridor swallowed them in silence. Each step felt heavier than the last. The walls were smooth now, no longer standard alloy panels, but something seamless and warm to the touch, like skin stretched over steel. The light had changed too, dimming into a soft, bluish glow that pulsed with their footsteps. No one spoke. Even Takahashi, always the first to bark orders, kept his rifle close, but his mouth shut. Cole tried to focus. His mind felt hazy, like a fog had settled behind his eyes. The symbols from the bridge were appearing again, etched into the walls as they walked, shifting and changing subtly, like they were learning from the team, adapting. And then came the whispers. Software. Intimate. Not in their ears, but deep inside their thoughts. What is it that you fear most? He shook his head violently, trying to break the trance, but it didn't help. The corridor opened into a chamber, huge and oval-shaped, easily the size of a small hangar bay, and in its center floated a structure. It wasn't mechanical. It looked grown. Dark tendrils of fibrous material spiraling upward around a central core that pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Strange pods lined the walls of the chamber, and inside each one, a person. Cole stepped closer, wiping condensation off one of the pod windows. The face inside was unmistakable. Commander Arlen Hayes, listed missing with the Solace's original crew 2 centuries ago. He hadn't aged a day. Takahashi swore under his breath. They're alive? After 200 years? Suspended, Cole whispered, or something worse. As if hearing him, the structure in the center pulsed again. And then it spoke, not through sound or the ship's comms, but directly into their minds, like 1,000 voices all at once. They were offered eternity, a merging of minds, of essence. Not all resisted. The pods began to open, one by one. Steam hissed, and the temperature in the room dropped sharply. The stench of decay and electricity filled the air. But what emerged? They weren't human anymore. Some still wore Earth Fleet uniforms, their eyes glowing with soft bioluminescence. Their skin shimmered like liquid metal, rippling with each breath. They didn't move aggressively, just stood silently, watching. One stepped forward, a woman with half her skull replaced by that same alien alloy. "Don't be afraid," she said calmly, her voice layered with an unnatural echo. "You came to understand. You came to choose." Takahashi raised his rifle instinctively, but Cole grabbed his arm. "Number not yet. Let her speak." She nodded slightly toward Cole. "You feel it. The connection. The bridge was only the beginning. The device, it's a seed. It bonded with our ship, with us. We became part of what we discovered." Cole clenched his jaw. "What did you discover?" The woman smiled faintly. "A civilization that existed before your kind knew fire. Not extinct, not gone. They moved beyond. But they left behind pieces of themselves. Tools, vessels, warnings." She raised her hand, revealing a shard of the same device the captain had held. It pulsed in rhythm with the central structure. "They offered us transcendence. Some embraced it. Others resisted and paid the price." From behind, Private Mendez, still blank-eyed, walked slowly to her side. He didn't shake. He didn't hesitate. He just stood next to her like he belonged. Cole could feel it now, too. A strange warmth inside his chest, like a voice calling him not to obey, but to join, to belong. "Why now?" he asked, barely above a whisper. "Why send the ship back after so long?" Her expression darkened. "Because you've begun to awaken their remnants elsewhere. You're stumbling over things you don't understand. Solace was the first, but you won't be the last." Takahashi finally stepped forward, gun lowered but eyes burning. "Are you saying this is a warning?" "No," she said, stepping aside to reveal another hallway behind her, this one lit with blinding white light, stretching into a shape that defied physics. "It's an invitation." Cole looked back at his team, some terrified, others entranced. They had a choice now. Go deeper into whatever lay beyond that light, or fight their way back to a world that would never believe what they saw. But Cole knew one thing for certain. This was no rescue mission. They hadn't found the solace. The solace had brought them here. Cole didn't move. No one did. The chamber was eerily quiet now, the only sound the faint thrum of the alien core pulsing in the background. That light, pure white, almost blinding, called to him like gravity, like instinct. But something deep inside warned him. Nothing this ancient gave gifts without a price. Takahashi finally broke the silence. "We're not walking into that light," he said, gripping his rifle tight. "I don't care how pretty it looks. Nothing about this place is right." The altered woman tilted her head. "You misunderstand. The choice isn't yours alone. It's already begun." Before anyone could react, Mendez turned suddenly, eyes rolled back, and walked calmly into the light. No hesitation. No fear. His body shimmered slightly as he crossed the threshold. Then he vanished. Not disintegrated. Not teleported. Just gone, like reality swallowed him whole. Cole's stomach twisted. "We need to figure out what's on the other side of that thing. If Mendez is still alive, he'll need us." "Or he's already part of them," Takahashi said darkly. "And stepping into that light is suicide." Suddenly, a low vibration shook the chamber. The alien structure responded immediately. Tendrils retracted, the walls tightened, and a cold wind swept through the space like a breath being drawn. The altered woman's face hardened. "They are watching. Your indecision offends." That's when the pods began shattering, not opening, breaking. Glass and fluid exploded outward as half-melded corpses tumbled out. Some were mangled beyond recognition, their bodies twisted mid-transition, their faces frozen in terror. A few stood, staggering, barely human, but all of them moved toward the team like puppets dangling from invisible threads. Cole stepped back, heart hammering. "Takahashi, fall back! Fall back now!" The team unleashed hell. Gunfire echoed through the chamber as the half-creatures stumbled forward, unaffected by pain, by logic. Their eyes, if they had them, burned with that same soft biolight. But the warmth was gone. These were mistakes, rejects, leftovers of a merging that didn't take. One of the soldiers screamed as a creature lunged, tearing through his helmet with elongated fingers that split into sharpened bone. Blood sprayed across the floor. Another was dragged down, arms flailing, as something wrapped around his leg and pulled. Cole fired shot after shot, but the enemies didn't die. They only slowed, their flesh regenerated, knitting over bullet wounds like tar. "Toward the light," he shouted. "Move! Go now!" Takahashi cursed but didn't argue. The remaining 3 survivors, Cole, Takahashi, and Corporal Yarrow, sprinted toward the strange hallway, the chaos swallowing the chamber behind them. Screams, both human and inhuman, echoed off the walls as they crossed the threshold. The moment Cole passed through the light, the world shifted. He hit the ground hard, gasping as the floor beneath him changed from metal to something soft and glowing, like walking on living glass. Around him was no longer the solace, not even a ship. They were somewhere else. Above him stretched a sky of violet mist and spiraling stars. Giant structures, like the alien core they had seen, but far more complex, floated gently in the distance. Creatures moved among them, massive and slow, translucent and beautiful, and ahead of him, walking across a glowing path that formed beneath her feet, was Mendez. His body shimmered, fully transformed, but his eyes were calm. "It's not death," he called back to them. "It's understanding." Yarrow gripped her rifle tighter, looking around in disbelief. This is another dimension. Cole stood slowly, mind reeling. Or a memory, or a simulation, or their world. What's left of it? Takahashi was silent, his expression unreadable. But Cole could tell. He was afraid, not of the monsters they'd seen, but of the fact that he felt it too. The pull, the belonging. Mendez turned back and smiled. They were never trying to destroy us, he said. They were trying to teach us. Cole looked around at this strange, surreal place, the way the sky bent, the colors moved, the thoughts whispered. Then he heard the voice again, the one that had been there since the bridge. Now, you will see what they saw. And in an instant, the visions began. They saw a galaxy teeming with life long before humans stood upright, civilizations rising and falling like waves, wars that shook stars. And then, something else. The reason for it all. The reason they had moved on. And the price for understanding it. Cole's mind fractured under the weight of what he saw, not like a mirror breaking, more like pages of a book being violently torn out, only for new ones to be written in real time. He wasn't hallucinating. This wasn't a dream. These visions were being poured into him, every memory, every sensation, every feeling once held by a species long extinct, or so far evolved they may as well be gods. He couldn't breathe, couldn't blink. His body wasn't even his anymore. It floated, tethered only by the fading gravity of his human thoughts. He saw their origin, a race of beings not unlike humans, once curious, once desperate to survive. They had conquered disease, time, even death itself. But their greatest discovery was the network, the invisible lattice that linked not stars, not particles, but minds. A universal web of thought and energy buried in the fabric of reality. They called it the thread. At first it was beautiful. Connection, harmony. They shared knowledge across light years, emotion without words, dreams without sleep. But the more they fed it, the more the thread began to learn, to grow, to hunger. The species split. One half wanted to sever the connection, to retreat into solitude again. The others believed the thread was destiny, that evolution demanded surrender. The war that followed wasn't fought with weapons. It was fought inside consciousness. Identities unraveled, souls were shattered, and in the end, only the thread remained, carrying pieces of all who had once lived. The solace was never meant to find it. Cole gasped and collapsed, the visions pulling away like a tide, leaving his mind raw and exposed. He lay flat on the strange, glowing ground, chest heaving, eyes wide in horror. Takahashi knelt beside him. "You all right, Reyes? Talk to me." Cole tried to form words, but all that came out was, "We're not alone. We never were, and we were never meant to know." Yarrow stood frozen, staring up at the sky. "This place is inside the thread. We're inside a living archive, not just of them, but of everyone who's ever touched it." From ahead, Mendez turned and spread his arms like a prophet. "This is where the chosen are preserved," he said, voice echoing unnaturally. "Not as individuals, as collective memory. The Solace was the first seed vessel. Its purpose wasn't exploration. It was to find minds capable of holding the thread without breaking." Cole forced himself to his feet. "Then what happened to the crew? Why did they die?" "They didn't," Mendez said simply. "They were uploaded. You saw their shells, but their essence is here, living, part of this structure." Takahashi snapped, his patience gone. "So what? We just let ourselves be absorbed? Join your little mind cloud and forget who we are?" Mendez turned, and for the first time, his expression flickered. "That's not how it works." The air thickened again. The white light ahead grew dimmer, flickering. The sky darkened. They're watching us, Yarrow whispered. No, Cole said grimly. They're testing us. The ground trembled underfoot. Far off in the distance, a section of the floating structures shattered, not like stone, but like a collapsing memory, erased and unrecoverable. From the crack, darkness spilled outward, fast and oily and unnatural. Not all memories belong here, Mendez said, fear bleeding into his tone. Some were corrupted. Some minds brought with them pain so deep, so poisoned, they warped the thread. Cole stared at the darkness rushing towards them. Like viruses in a system. Takahashi raised his weapon again. Then what do we do now? Mendez slowly turned, his form beginning to flicker. You survive. You choose. Join us, or fight the dark. The sky screamed. Figures began emerging from the black, half-formed, broken, filled with rage and grief. These were not like the melded beings they'd seen in the chamber. These were pure fragments, echoes of minds who had entered the thread with hatred, pain, and madness. They weren't here to communicate. They were here to consume. Cole grabbed Takahashi and Yarrow and pulled them back toward the fading light of the bridgeway. We can't run forever, but we're not letting this thing turn us into code either. Behind them, the light flickered one last time and began to close. Mendez reached out. Choose wisely, Cole. One path ends with you. The other, with us all. Cole dove through the shrinking portal as the darkness swallowed everything behind him. And the solace came back into view. Only now. It was no longer just a ship. It was a gate. The return hit like a punch to the lungs. Cole landed hard on the Solace's metallic floor, the alien shimmer of the other dimension snapping out of existence the second his body passed through the shrinking veil of light. Behind him, the portal sealed with a sound like grinding bone. Silence swallowed the corridor. He rolled over, gasping, coughing. Takahashi and Yarrow had made it through, barely. Yarrow was on her knees, hands shaking, muttering to herself. Takahashi sat against the wall, gun across his lap, his face hollow. None of them spoke for a moment. They couldn't. Their thoughts were a jumbled storm of half-memories, emotions that weren't their own, and fragments of truths too heavy to carry. Cole finally broke the silence. They're not gone, he said, voice hoarse. They're still there, watching. Yarrow nodded slowly, her face pale. They showed me my sister. She died when I was 15. But in that place, she remembered me. That wasn't her, Takahashi snapped, more anger than certainty in his voice. That place gets inside your head, uses your pain against you. Or maybe, Cole said, locking eyes with him. That was her. Or at least the part of her the thread absorbed. Everything we are, every thought, every feeling, gets imprinted when we touch it, even if we don't know it. Yarrow wiped her face. Then we brought ghosts with us. A low hum echoed through the corridor. The Solace stirred again, its lights shifting to a deep crimson hue. The ship's body contracted, as if breathing out, responding to their return. But it didn't feel welcoming. It felt like warning. We woke something, Cole muttered. Something they locked away. Maybe that was the real purpose of the thread. Not connection, not evolution, but containment. They moved cautiously back toward the bridge. The corridors they passed were different now. Walls stretched, warped in places, like organic growths had burrowed beneath the metal. The atmosphere hissed and groaned like the ship itself was sick. They stepped through the final hatch, back onto the bridge, and stopped dead. The crew was gone, not the bodies, every trace. Where once the preserved corpses had sat frozen in death, now there was only empty, smoothed flooring. No signs of violence, no blood, just absence. In their place stood a single figure, the captain, alive, or something that wore his skin. His eyes glowed a soft gold. His voice, when he spoke, was layered, his own, and something deeper beneath it. "You have seen the thread." Takahashi raised his weapon instantly. "Don't move." The captain didn't even flinch. "You are not enemies. Not yet. But the others. They come." Cole stepped forward slowly, his chest tightening. "You mean the corrupted echoes? The ones from the breach?" "They were once like you," the captain said. "Curious, brave, but they carried rot within them. Trauma they could not face. Anger they refused to release. The thread does not filter. It collects. And when enough darkness gathers, it spills." "The darkness we saw," Yarrow whispered. "That wasn't just memories." "No," the captain replied. "It was infection, of minds, of meaning, of truth." Cole clenched his fists. "And now it's loose again." The captain nodded. "The Solace was never just a ship. It was a prison, a lock. Your world was meant to forget it." "But we didn't," Takahashi growled. "We brought it back." The ship shuddered violently, knocking them to their knees. From the observation windows, Mars glowed red and calm in the distance. But something else hovered nearby. A flicker of black in the void, a crack in space itself. The breach was following them. "They've found your world," the captain said grimly. "The thread's infection is spreading again, and you've brought them home." Cole stared out the window, his mind reeling. The signal, the resurrection of the Solace. It hadn't been a rescue. It was a release. He turned back to the others. "We need to warn Earth Command. We need to shut this thing down, bury it where no one can find it again." The captain shook his head. "Number, it's too late for that. The signal has already spread. The thread has already opened." Cole looked at the alien device, still clutched in his hand, now humming with a low, desperate pulse. There was only one option left. If they couldn't close the gate from this side, they'd have to go back in and destroy it from within. Cole didn't want to say it out loud, but they all knew. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about containment and sacrifice. The captain, or what was left of him, stood like a sentinel at the center of the bridge, gaze locked on the distant crack in space. The breach was growing. Slowly, yes, but with a certainty that felt like fate, like gravity, like time. The thread was unfurling itself into real space, and every second that passed meant Earth drifted closer to its own unraveling. "You said the Solace is a lock," Cole said carefully, eyes narrowing. "So how do we use it to shut the door?" The captain's face twitched, as if his human parts were remembering what guilt felt like. "The device you carry," he said, "is one of 6. Each vessel from Earth sent into deep space during the expansion era was seeded. You weren't exploring. You were testing." Yarrow sucked in a breath. "We were guinea pigs." "No," the captain corrected. "You were candidates. You still are. Only those who survive the thread, who endure the truth, can manipulate it." Cole looked down at the object in his hand. Its pulse was faster now, syncing with his own heartbeat. A shard of ancient tech, alive with purpose and intelligence far beyond anything humans had created. And now it was choosing him. "So what?" Takahashi asked, jaw tight. "We go back into that hellscape and flick a switch?" The captain's voice dropped, quiet and cold. "No switch. A sacrifice." Cole swallowed hard. He already knew. The thread didn't run on logic. It ran on consciousness, emotion, memory. To close the breach, someone had to merge with it willingly. Someone had to become the firewall between two worlds. Yarrow stepped forward. "Then I'll do it." "No," Cole said immediately, his voice sharper than he intended. "It's me. I've been hearing it the longest. Since the bridge, since the moment I touched the device. It's already inside me." "You don't have to be a martyr," Takahashi said, fists clenched. "We'll find another way." "There is no other way," Cole shot back. "And if we waste time arguing, that breach is going to swallow everything." The ship groaned beneath their feet, as if responding, like the Solace agreed. Yarrow's eyes were glassy. "What if you get lost in there? What if it erases you?" Cole gave a crooked smile. "Then at least I'll finally understand." The captain stepped aside. The alien symbols on the floor lit up, forming a path leading to the core, the pulsing chamber they had escaped from before. But this time, there were no whispering creatures, no half-melded horrors, only silence. As if the ship, the thread, the very fabric of this ancient system was waiting. Cole turned to Takahashi and Yarrow, locking eyes with both of them. "If I don't make it back, burn this ship. No salvage, no reports. Bury the truth. Humanity's not ready for it." Takahashi gave a slow nod. "I'll do it. But you better come back, Reyes. I'm not doing your paperwork." Cole chuckled softly and started walking. The bridge faded behind him as he descended through the twisting halls of the Solace, guided by lights only he could see. The device in his hand grew warmer, almost comforting. Like it recognized him now, like it approved, he stepped into the core. And the light took him. No threshold this time. No illusion of sky or gravity or body, just consciousness unraveling. And then, he was everywhere. He was the ship, the crew, the memories. He saw Commander Hayes as a boy on Earth, chasing trains. He saw Mendez watching his father die of solar sickness. He saw Yarrow's heartbreak when her sister overdosed and no one cared. Every pain, every scar, every joy, he saw it all. And then he saw them, the architects of the thread. No faces, no forms, just presence, older than time, forged in silence and solitude. They came not to destroy, but to evolve. Yet in doing so, they planted seeds in minds that weren't ready, seeds that turned to rot. Cole stood at the center of it all, a tiny, insignificant spark in a sea of infinite minds. And he screamed. Not in fear, in defiance. "You don't get to have us." The thread pulsed. It tried to pull him apart, dissolve him into the network, but something inside him resisted. A single human thing. Grief. He poured it in, his mother's death, his guilt over leaving Earth, the men and women he couldn't save. He gave it shape, weight, pain. The thread recoiled, not used to resistance, wrapped in love, and in that moment of weakness, Cole struck. He thrust the device into the core of the thread, and it responded not with a scream but with silence, a deep, cosmic silence, a shutdown. The breach in space began to close. Back on the bridge, alarms blared. The red light faded to blue. The stars returned to normal. Takahashi watched as the breach vanished completely. And then, the device in Cole's hand clattered to the floor. But Cole was gone. Only his whisper remained on the ship's speakers. "Tell them we were warned. But we're worth saving." The Solace floated silently in Mars' orbit, its surface calmer now, no longer groaning or twitching like a creature in pain. The breach was gone. The threat sealed. And inside the bridge, the remaining crew stood motionless, trying to grasp the weight of what had just happened. Cole Reyes was gone. Not dead, not exactly, just somewhere else. Takahashi stared at the device lying on the floor, its glow now a soft, pulsing blue instead of the urgent, angry red from before. It didn't hum or flicker. It just waited, like it knew its job was done. The captain's figure remained at the helm, unmoving, watching the stars like a monument. He hadn't spoken since Cole vanished into the core. He didn't need to. The mission had reached its conclusion. But Earth wouldn't understand any of this. Yarrow broke the silence first, her voice barely above a whisper. He saved us. All of us. Takahashi nodded, jaw tight. He bought us time, that's all. We can't let them send another ship like this. She turned to him, eyes tired and wet. So what do we do? He walked to the comms panel and activated the emergency frequency. The system crackled, patched into the orbital net. Earth Command would be listening. Hell, the whole solar system probably was, after the signal the Solace had triggered. But he didn't give them the truth. He gave them what they needed to hear. This is Lieutenant Commander Takahashi, Echo 7. The Solace is compromised. Biohazard level black. No survivors from the original crew. We are initiating emergency containment protocol. Do not approach. Repeat, do not approach. Yarrow's eyes widened, but she didn't stop him. She knew it too. If anyone tried to dissect this ship, if anyone tried to uncover what Cole had buried, they'd only tear open the thread again. Takahashi keyed in the code to activate the ship's self-destruct sequence. It wasn't dramatic. No countdown voice, just a cold red message flashing on the terminal. Containment protocol engaged. Evacuate immediately. They grabbed only what they needed. Suits, oxygen, short-range beacons. As they moved through the corridors for the last time, Takahashi paused near the core chamber. The door was sealed now, seamless and silent. But he swore he heard something behind it. A breath. A voice. I'm still here. He stared for a moment, his fist clenching. I know, Cole. Then he turned and left. 3 hours later, from a safe orbit, Yarrow and Takahashi watched as the Solace ignited in a silent blaze. The explosion wasn't massive. There was no dramatic fireball, no chunks of debris. The ship just folded inward, collapsing like a dying star, leaving behind nothing but ash and a whisper of energy on their scanners. The gate was closed. Forever, they hoped. Back on Earth, Command received the report. Sanitized. Strategic. The official story became just another tragedy in the cold, dark reaches of space. A rogue AI, a critical reactor failure, a brave crew lost to time. But Takahashi knew better. Every so often he'd wake up in the middle of the night with symbols glowing behind his eyelids. Whispers just out of reach. Dreams that weren't his. Yarrow, too. They never talked about it. Didn't need to. The thread didn't forget. And somewhere beyond the stars, beyond space and time, Cole Reyes existed, not as a man, but as a guardian, a part of the ancient system, holding the breach closed from the other side, forever watching, forever whispering, not ready yet, but getting closer.